I'm pretty sure that the camera does not do this look justice, dude. It, I obviously, I can see it's curved. Maybe I should change that. How about that? Is that any better? Kind of looks a little bit better. Now it's on linear, which is going to give it a more straighter look. See how, like, when you look at the bottom of the table, the edge of the table seems to be more lined up. Anyways, so these wheels are just on here just to get an overall look of the truck. We're definitely not done here. I guess technically this is part 2 of the unboxing of this truck, and yeah, it's gonna take me a little bit of time to check this thing out. Seeing some of those videos with XO Cage and Thunder RC, and then just point blank knowing the size of this vehicle, and then off camera feeling the looseness of the center diff. When this much is involved in an RC, if you don't take just a little bit of time and look into a couple of things, you might be doing yourself a disservice. So I'm really not interested in doing myself a disservice here. Ah, my light's not on. Dude, gotta have the RC Guy Garage light on. Anyways, basically put this thing upside down, but like I was saying, the weirdness of how they did this, I think I would much rather have seen this pinned. Pop a couple pins instead of screwed. When you go to work on this thing, unless you take this off, you are screwed. So I'm gonna pop that off, flip the truck upside down, and go after the center diff, because just knowing the configuration of this, I know that the center diff is down there. That doesn't mean that I'm going to add or change fluid. I just want to see what's inside. I want to see, I guess, what's involved before this thing gets all crudted up. I want to see what's involved with this thing. You know, being this deep into an RC, meaning, you know, financially, you kind of should, you kind of should take that RTR thing and kind of throw it away. And man, how do you say that? How do you say that nothing should be really ready out of the box? Because it should. RTR does mean ready to run, but you're doing yourself a big disservice, especially with seeing how a lot of these manufacturers have been lacking in the quality control kind of levels. You really should kind of, yeah, guy, you should kind of like look into it, and especially at this level here. So I'm sure it's fine, but I'm going to crack open a center diff. And yes, this is part 2 of the unboxing. All right, so like I was saying, these wheels were just on here for that mock-up kind of thing. And it does give it, dude, it does give it a nasty look, dude. These wheels are mint looking. They're probably going to get pretty shredded up, but still, dude, these things, they almost like have that, what's that wheel? Turbine wheel. I think it was a turbine wheel. Kind of has that look, except I think the turbine had more spokes, if I remember right. This is like half spoke turbine. So, like I said, these wheels were just on here just for looks. So there's a couple of screws. So there's 1, 2, and that will be able to pull that out. Like I was saying, I just wish somehow this could be, I wish it could have been pinned, man. This is dumb. These are, oh yeah, by the way, using this Ryobi thing here, I've had this thing for quite a while. The tool works. It just does do the job. It's starting to, it's not wearing out. It's, how do I explain it? The scale of an RC like this, you'll be cracking, you know, fasteners, you know, by using it by hand, and then you can go ahead and does have a 2-position, high torque, more speed. And this chuck is a chuck that I put in. It just basically makes changing bits and locking bits in just that much easier. So, but 2 screws, 1, 2 here. And serious, dude, that ain't the right bit? What the hell size are they talking? Ain't that, is it? No, it ain't. What the hell? Wrong bit, guy. I'm gonna make sure I'm going the right way here. So it's really not threaded into much, dude. It's the other thing, too, is when you think about it. So it's funny talking about that WAV Racing RC, right? Granted, it really doesn't need to be a massive screw, but they're using, like, 10th scale hardware. Not that it matters, but it's just funny, man. Certain things that you kind of, like, think about when you look at something. And it's not nitpick. It's literally just, you know, how someone thinks. about stuff just when they initially look at something or what their eyes see. So it's literally held on by, like, I think 3 threads is what this thing is held on by. Makes it easy, I guess. Pulls off. Dude, so it is adjustable. Check that out. That actually is adjustable. The only thing is, what hole was it on? Well, I'm just going to pretend that it was all the way down the bottom. My daughter had got me these. I could use the Cow RC stuff, but I'm going to use what my daughter got me, guy. Center spine piece here. I'm going to go ahead and start by taking this off to see if this is the cover piece or whether if these 2 sections are interlocked into that. And dude, it is funny. WAV Racing uses bigger hardware. Alright, so does this just pull off? Kind of looks like it doesn't. So I wonder if these 2 pieces overlay onto that. I'm going to go ahead and take this one off because this has nothing to do with the steering. This one has the steering standoffs attached to it. So I'm going to go after this one first. This is kind of where the center diff is going to be anyway. Somewhere between here and here is what I'm guessing. And maybe it will slide out like that. Again, dude, these are all 2.5. These are all 2.5 fasteners. And I think the WAV Racing has bigger stuff. Well, that screw didn't seem like it was really in there. Alright, so let's see, does this piece lift off? Nope. So this isn't lifting off from that. It's probably because it's attached back here. So I'm thinking possibility because the rear bumper support is attached to that. Oh, maybe this swings up. Oh. Well, no, it doesn't really swing up. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take this off. Get a good look at the diffs anyway. Alright, there we go. Oh, look at that. That's kind of cool. Kind of like swings away. So now let's see. Oh, there's going to be more screws. Yeah, you're kidding me. What the hell's holding this thing in here? Alright, so what the hell? Oh, there's a screw. There's a screw that goes this way. One screw under here. Yeah, I'll show you. Leave all these screws together so things don't get screwed up. Rear diff right there. There's the center diff. So there's a screw right there. And that's what the differential looks like. It looks like it's sufficiently greased, man. Definitely looks like it's sufficiently greased. Get a good look at that thing. Get out of here, dude. See? It's always causing trouble, man. Vector's always causing trouble. There you go. Alright. Get out of here. Ah, dude, I know. I know, I see you. I see you, buddy. Alright. So, like I was saying, that is sufficiently greased, man. Get a look at the under part of the cover without losing all these screws. So it's just a regular grease. Just because I'm here, and because I have the Cow RC stuff, I'm going to go ahead and give it a squeeze of some good stuff in there. Just like that. Boy, I'm almost out of this stuff. There we go. That's some lube. That's some good stuff. I'd like to pack that thing with more, but that'll be good enough for now. Maybe once we get some chassis slaps, the grease will kind of come to the bottom and top, but the bottom, and we'll see. So I didn't need to take off these screws, so I can go ahead and put those back on. Alright, so to get into this center diff, actually, can that cover come off now? If I take these screws out, I might be able to slide it, I think, but yeah, no, you can't. So I do have to take off. I do have to take this cover off too. Damn. Well, at least I'll get a look at the front diff too. Oh! Had Loctite on it. Well, not Loctite, it had glue. I feel surprised that this hardware is this small. Again, getting back on the WAV Racing, man. The WAV Racing hardware is massive compared to this stuff. And there's probably that one screw underneath. Ah, crap. Not looking forward to losing the screws here. There's that one screw right there. Gone forever. Alright, so that is a couple of screws to go ahead and get to this. So, and the front bumper is the bumper's attached in a different way. So there's actually 3 screws because it doesn't flop away. Damn it. And the bumper hides 2 screws. So the 2 screws that attach to these stanchions. Crap. So there's 2 screws right here. One right here. Let the driver kind of just find its way. Alright, now we can pull it off. That's still attached. Get a look at the lube. So here's what we're looking at for lube in there. Same thing. Boy, doesn't that sound funny? Literally, it's the rear diff. I think, making a funky sound. I do want to put my grease in there. The cow RC stuff. I'm just getting a look at the gears. Making sure we've got no pre-chipped teeth. Yeah, look at, see how easy that center diff? Look at that. See? Watch. Look at how loose that center diff is. Butter is getting low, dude. I'm going to have to get some more. Boom. I've only got 1 more squeeze left. Crap, dude. It's like 1 or 2 more squeezes of this. Might have to switch over to my other stuff. There we go. Let it eat. Now it's happy. Alright, so now we'll pop this off. So a bunch of screws. So the drive shaft has a bearing support on one side of the split chassis. So this thing is getting its strength partially from this too. You can see the little bearing support right there, but it's getting its strength from this. So, I mean, for a 5th scale, this looks... Dude, this looks like 7th scale. You know what I mean? This looks like 7th scale for a 5th scale. And there's that bearing support. So on that servo on the nose, or the horn, the servo nose piece that sticks out, there's that bearing support right there. Here's how you can go ahead and tighten up your servo saver. It looks like it's a couple things, man, to get to this. I'm not sure if these 2 need to come off, but I'm gonna do them anyway. Alright, let's see if this cover comes off. Okay, alright, so these 2 screws didn't need to come out. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws to go ahead and take this cover off. These screws I can go ahead and sink back down. Did that already rust? I almost thought that was rust. It's grease. Is that already rust? Alright, so here's the center diff. Does have something on the gear, but there's like no technical grease in this area. It looks like there is some type of a something. Probably just something to keep rust down. But taking this out. Huh. So how in the hell do I literally have to pull that away to pull this out? Kind of almost seems that way, dude. It seems like I've got to pull the rear end out or something. There are 2 screws. So there's one there and one there that look like they go to the housing. 2 screws that would hold that whole diff in? That can't be right. Nah, it's more than that, dude. There's screws that go through the back here. There's got to be some other way to get this out of here. Definitely has to be some other way to get this out of here. That's ridiculous, man. Take this whole thing off just to get to this? That's dumb. So after analyzing this a little bit, I was thinking, okay, maybe somehow something collapses into something. That doesn't seem to be the case. I almost feel like this, or at least I thought this was like one of those collapsible sleeves, but I don't know if it's the grease. I took the pin that's in here. So there's one of those 1.5 set screw pin style things on here. I took that out, realized that that's definitely not the case, or at least I didn't feel like it's the case. Underneath there's 2 screws. On the back there's a couple of screws that I think I'm seeing that I have to go after. So the bearing's going to fall out of the servo. Yeah, there it goes. So there's these 2 screws right here. I'm going to just pop those out because they look like they're going into that diff. So 1, 2. Damn, dude, it's almost like maybe these 2 screws come off and 2 screws that may be attached to here might come off. Yeah, I ain't doing no manual, man. This is just how it goes. I would rather just have my head wrap around this thing and figure it out. I almost feel like I should take those screws off. That way these supports, stanchion supports, or these tower to brace kind of get out of the way. I'm just not sure, man. All right, there's a couple of screws. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, dude, are you serious? Okay. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 2 upper screws. That literally just did it right there. Look at that. All right. So that means there's 2 screws here somewhere that need to come off in this whole back thing. We'll pull away. It's like 2 screws there. Yeah, there's a screw. There's a screw there and a screw there. So there's 1 screw here. Okay, maybe this isn't as bad as I was thinking. Going in blind. See, again, this thing's held together with tiny screws. I don't know if that's going to be an issue or not, but I just think it's funny that the WAV... See, that's not that bad. Now that that whole module comes out, that's not bad. All right, now I understand. See what I'm saying? The little bearing came out? Gonna go ahead and stick that back in there. All right, so now this should probably come out maybe easy. Okay, there we go. Oh yeah, that's wicked loose, dude. I'd almost want to say I don't even want to run this thing with yeah, I don't like that. I also don't like the fact that there's no lube on it, but maybe it doesn't need it. Maybe it's that dry kind of system. I'll leave it for how it is, and then I will... So I wanted to see. Yeah, so this is just a little spline. I'll leave it for how it is now. I'm going to crack this thing open. See what's going on here. Hoping I remember where all these screws go. So these 2 screws went to the back thing, I think. Oh, crap. Is that how it went? Are those 2 screws still stuck in there? No. All right. Well, there were 5 screws for the cover, and I only see 3. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. Never mind. The screws are right there. 48 tooth M1 is what we're looking at here. But what I was saying was right away, you shouldn't really be able to do this. This is like way too loose. Big chunky bearing. 2 different bearing sizes too. So on the pinion side, or on the spur gear side, or whatever the hell you want to call this, because it's kind of like an idler gear that's in there. It's like a double spur. So on the ring gear, because this is a diff, so on this ring gear, it's in the plastic, so I'm not going to have to worry about heating anything up. I'm going to go ahead and just pop this open and see what we're looking at here. All right, so here we go. All 4 screws are out, and it does look like we have alignment pins. So there are alignment pins for this. So let's see what we're looking at. And we're looking at very thin fluid. So, and I know a lot of people say that these companies don't put enough fluid in. Thing is, though, is that all the gears are wet. If you're going for a certain style of driving, which I know out of the box, this thing would not be the type of driving that I feel like I might want to do with this thing. What do I mean by I feel like this isn't the type of driving that I would do out of the box? Because this is a 5th scale 8S RC, with that diff being as loose as it is, I'm not going to do earplugs, but I do have 20 million. And I am going to put 20 million, and you think about it, man, Traxxas itself, they do 20 million. Even I think Arrma, maybe Arrma does too. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just do 1 million. But I am going to go ahead and put 20 million in it. If you think about it, the Traxxas, what is it? The X-Max, and I even think the Max. Maybe not the UDR. Well, whatever. There's a bunch of vehicles that use the 20 million. I use the 20 million. I'm going to go ahead and stick 20 million in this. We'll see. I did want to run this out of the box, but looking at this fluid, man, the gears are wet, dude. Don't get mistaken. The gears are wet. Technically, that is enough fluid for lubrication, because all you're supposed to be doing is wetting the gears. And if you do any kind of crazy driving, just like in a real differential, if you overfill, it creates heat, and heat is a bad thing. So when you overpack your diff, you're kind of creating your own problems. But I'm going to go ahead and throw 20 million in there anyway. Funny, because I actually do want to run the truck as is. Yeah, such a tough decision, but it does take quite a bit to kind of get in there. So, and I just kind of feel like I already know that the truck isn't necessarily going to perform, I think, the way I would hope or expect it to run. So this is your Traxxas 20 million. You can get other 20 millions. There are other companies. There are other companies that you can go ahead and get your different weight fluids from. So this company right here, this is Granite RC, but this is only 1 million. So, yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and install it. Now, I don't know whatever happened to James George, but James George actually sent me this when Earl had basically bought up all of the 20 million. There's still, I think, a little bit of 20 million in here, and I think I'm going to go ahead and scoop it out. Do I want to put earplugs in this thing? Damn it, dude. I could just go ahead and throw an earplug in here. Crap. Maybe if I just throw one earplug in there, it'll be enough to chew up the gears. Chew up the gears. Here I am. Guy, you don't want to giving you the whole dissertation about why you don't want such a thick stuff in there, and here I am taking an earplug sticking it in there. Oh no. So I basically just did what I told people not to do. Alright, well I'm gonna work this in here. I'm leaving the regular fluid that was in there. So what could happen, or what should happen, is that I'm just gonna mash this down and in. This could be the wrong way to do this, but the only way to find out is to actually do it. So I'm gonna jam this one single earplug in there, put it down and in, leave enough space to get the sun gear in there, and that looks like it's gonna be all right like that. Can't believe I just did that. Like I said, here I am. I just gave you a big dissertation of why you don't do this, and do I listen to myself? Nope. Alright, so I got these little locating pins. Push those locating pins in. And feels like it's good. Go ahead and just throw these screws in. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna give each four of these a little hand tweak. And that definitely has that. It feels like it's locked right now, but I know as soon as I run the truck, it's gonna mix with the diff fluid that's already in there. And once it mixes with that diff fluid that's in there, it's going to loosen up a little bit. I feel as though maybe this will work. So instead of wasting my money and throwing the 20 million in there from Traxxas, or actually technically from James George, went ahead and just threw in some Max, M-A-C-K-S, Max earplugs. Did one. But I just wanted to give this, with the right driver guy, wanted to just give this little hand tweak, just to make sure we're good. So I want to make sure that this is buried down and in. I can see how the locating pins are setting, so it looks good. I did already check to make sure we had some type of mesh, and we do. So guys, throw this back in the truck. Alright, so it's pretty obvious. The big, oh, you know what I should check? I should check and see what the grease looks like inside of this thing here. They say curiosity kills the cat, right? Well, I just want to see what we're looking at. And there is grease in there. So the bearing definitely does have grease. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to put a little schmutz right there. Just do that. And that will mix with the other stuff. That side. And I'll go ahead and pop this seal. Check out this one. Yeah. Plenty of grease in there. I'm just going to put a little bit extra, just because. Just like that. Like I said, I'm already here. Might as well just throw something in there. Alright, so this goes this way. Got to lift up this, key that in, and there we go. So I could technically, I think, put this cover back on, right? Does it interfere with anything? No, it doesn't. So that's something I'm noticing. So the two halves just butt up to each other. I'm not saying that's an issue, it's just, I could see it's two halves butt up against each other. And this thing is literally, the whole rear end is held on by 1, 2, 4 screws. The entire rear end of this truck is held on by 4 screws. Okay? Now, just take this, rotate it, and this isn't a bad, it's not a bad thing, man. I just don't understand about strength. Okay, these two long screws. These two long screws go down in there. It's funny, that's all it is. That's all it is. 4 screws hold that together. It doesn't seem like a lot. It definitely doesn't seem like a lot of screws, man. Alright, so technically what we did is we did earplug the center diff. Kind of went against my better judgment because I did want to kind of see what the truck was like. But, and I gave like this whole dissertation. I gave this whole dissertation of why you shouldn't. What do they say? They said from experience with other vehicles. From experience with other vehicles, there is a benefit to having that earplug slash like a thicker fluid. There is a benefit to that. So differentials have grease in them now. At least the ring and pinion right now have a better grease, I guess you could say. So this is the front portion, making sure that I reinstall the bearing, because that bearing just keeps falling out. Put in this center spine, because this is technically the piece that goes in first. The chassis's got the split, so you want to make sure that the bearing carrier piece is closer to that side. At least that's what I'm going with. Seems like it fell into place. And this is the front piece. And here is the rear piece. It's probably easier putting it on without the screws in place. There we go. Huh. What is floating in here? It's making it so I can't connect that. Ah, there we go. It's that whole center brace piece. Almost thought for some strange reason I had the, That didn't sound good. So that already stripped. Dude, that had nothing to it. And it already stripped out. Oh, that ain't cool. There was no torque to that. The driver's gonna die. Now these two had Loctite. Probably should put Loctite on those two. Now these two I'm going to save for some Loctite. So I'm sorry, I'm going to call that all day. That was a stripped screw from the factory. That's where I'm going with that, because there's no way, dude. This driver didn't put that much force on that screw. That literally was stripped from the factory. That's garbage. Yeah, look at that. Crap. Well, I'm just going to leave it. Put a little bit of thread lock. I'm going to put it where they had it. Right there. And right there. Good enough. Make sure you close and cap off. It's got an extra screw. Why do I have an extra screw? What's this extra screw from? Ah, it's not an extra screw. Almost thought it was an extra screw. So there's that one screw down there, right in the center, right here, that I thought was part of that. And then it's got the two bumper piece things here. Then we got this one little screw right here. So this 4-leg chassis brace thing from the factory, one of my screws was stripped. I'm calling that all day. I'm definitely calling that all day. That was not me. That was stripped. I mean, dude, as soon as it hit, I almost thought for some strange reason I had the... Oh, that didn't sound good. It broke free. So from the factory, one of my screws was stripped. It sucks, but you know what? With the way that they pump these things out, and because this is all plastic, it's kind of what you gotta expect. I could probably go ahead and put some like super glue or something in there. Maybe that would kind of help, but we're just gonna go with it. It better not be one screw is what breaks this RC. So that's where this video is gonna end. This video is gonna end on a positive note. Positive note, knowing that this thing is back together. We just... You know, dissertation, don't use earplugs. I put one earplug in there. I didn't clean the juice that was in there out because that method to my madness there was no need for it. Once this thing starts to move under its own power, that center diff is going to loosen up, and it probably might be, I'm hoping, where I'm expecting this RC to be. I have not ran it, but it's that experience tells you that something like this, the power, the traction, all of it, kind of tells you that this RC, at least for the way I know I like to drive, not how Red Cat intended this thing to be. Red Cat obviously did the diffs exactly the way they intended for this truck to run. So when you have such an open center diff, it keeps things more down implanted. It does bleed power off to the front end, but that's also probably to keep your speed down. So there's a bunch of things like when people, I think sometimes people are a little misconstrued and, you know, can you just chalk it up to, oh, this is how, you know, this RC, blah, blah, blah. This is how I want it to run. I think that's the whole point, is that with this level of RC, you're not a kid getting this thing. I mean, if you are, you're one heck of a lucky kid, but you've got a job, most likely. You've got the income to support something like this, and then taking it apart, tuning it, maybe having a little bit of background knowledge with RCs could go a long way, especially with something like this. Dude, all I'm doing right now is I'm just blabbing. It's raining outside as usual for, I guess, New England weather, so I'm not taking this thing out. Not going to take this thing out until I get a nice day. And that's where that, again, that thought process comes in. And, you know, when you drop in coin like this, you need to really think about it. So, anyways, this is RC Guy Garage. I'm going to be at some point out ripping up this Red Cat Racing Vigilante. I do think they have something going on with this truck. It looks really good, man. And from the videos that I've seen with Thunder RC and XO Cage, they've already beaten the snot out of it. I don't need to beat the snot out of it like that. I think my whole deal is to just run the thing and have fun. So anyways, I'm working on this thing. What are you doing today?